Alright, hello everyone. We are close to finish the round 1 from the qualification stage. We've got 2 matches which are going to be run right now. So the games has already been played and I will just show the recorded game. I decided to go that way to give a boost because that way we can watch quite fast those games without problem with the performance of the AIs if it was played in 4 times the speed. And that way we can have the opportunity to follow with new games from the round 2. So at that point I don't know which is gonna be the match. We've got a lot of choices. I think that it will depend on the viewers around if they want to see their own AIs to play. Alright, so the first game is gonna be GamesGod versus Wartron in 1v1. Wartron plays Ghost only, and GamesGod can play any civilization, but it will play as Mirror Thief this time. And this is a best of 3, of course, so the second game will be played for sure, 3v3, and a potential 2v2 in case we've got a tie. Alright. Here we go. So Wartron was made in 2011, and at least it can lure the boar. I was surprised to discover this AI. I did not know it was that advanced, so it was a good surprise. So as Gus, we can expect an infantry strategy. We know that the Escardos are pretty good. GamesGod playing any civilization, I don't know if it does have a specific strategy as Gus. So it can be interesting to compare. I need to do something. Option. Alright. Just let me know if the song is a problem for you. It might be fine. Well, there is a bug here. I can't speak the AI I wanna follow. That's kind of weird. Okay, I'll increase a bit the speed. Yeah, I will spoil. Nothing happened in the early Castle Age anyway. We see that Wartron is having already some units before reaching castle, in case it would be attacked. And GamesGod side went for a scout rush, but it's not rushing anyway. Maybe because it compares its military population with the enemy, and he already knows that it wouldn't be an option to attack right now. So we see that Wartron goes for a second TC. It's a way to get an advantage from having researched Castle Age quite fast compared to the enemy. And a third TC. It does have already some infantry units to defend in case. Okay, so we've got one outer range, and we can see that it goes for cavalry archers. And it might go for a bunch of knights in addition. So let's say that as goes, it loves to go for cavalry units. A second TC. And unfortunately I can't change the point of view, but at least Wartron might have more villagers now than GamesGod. And we can expect a castle soon now for Skulls, I guess. The first relic. And a first kill for GamesGod. I will decrease the speed when the first attack happens. So do we have a castle now from red? I see university. Alright, the first castle is here, quite forward. It might have the military advantage at this point with so many infantry already created. Alright, 33 minutes and eventually the first attack from Wartron. Here we go. I think that the attack comes a bit too early for GamesGod, which probably would have liked to have a castle to defend, because red looks unstoppable at this point. Well, the first attack looks to be victorious. Okay, we've got the defensive castle. A bit too late. But it definitely should help. And okay, we've got the Escals. And clearly GamesGod likes to train any unit. We've got Scorpions, Archers, Skirmishers, Knights, Infantry, and we did have Cavalry Archers before. And we might see some Escals, I guess, if the economy lets it to train Escals, of course, because the economy is actually not touched too much, but the harassment might come right now. At least it doesn't have access to the main gold. And Wartron at this point is attacking non-stop. And Wartron is now clearly leading at the score. Okay, if one relic is captured by GamesGod, we can expect 4 relics taken by Wartron at this point. Alright, the first assault is finished. Okay, that's a good new castle. It could be a key moment for GamesGod to recover, but at the same time, the problem is GamesGod is in Castle Age. This castle will fail. And the harassment prevent GamesGod to have a decent military population from the beginning. It's now at 10 population, 10 military population. And this castle was at a very good position. Well, the military composition is starting to be scaring from Wartron. The priority is given to the Escals. Alright, Wartron said attack. That definitely can be the ultimate assault. Yep, elite Escals are full upgraded. It looks to be unstoppable at this point. Especially with those trebuchets. Alright, so Watron won the first match, the first game, sorry, 1-0. Alright. So let's go for the 3v3 now. So we already lost Z-Bay, we lost Fourth Wind. Are we gonna lose GamesGod in this early tournament? So I will go fast for the early game. I forgot to mention the civilization for GamesGod. So it was Gus, Commands as pocket, and Malay as flank. So as I said, I don't know GamesGod much. I don't know if it does have various strategies. From what I've seen in the 1v1, it can go for Scout Rush at the very beginning. It looks to be almost the case as Kuman's flank. Okay, teal player, the melee one goes for archers, okay. And I Gus as Gus actually one market. I don't see any military building. Well, it is just booming at this point. It's maybe playing as if it was pocket, which is pretty risky. So yeah, definitely GamesGod has various strategies. It doesn't depend on the civilization. Maybe it's just pure randomness. At least I imagine that it wouldn't go for a scout rush strategy as Mesosive. Yeah, definitely. This time the Goth is just booming 3 TCs. A unique tower to defend in case it's attacked. The good point is the fact that the 3 TCs are pretty close with each other. And GamesGod is definitely lucky by the fact that Wartron is not an aggressive AI in the early game. So in the 1v1, the first attack happened at the 33 minutes. I think that I can increase the speed. Okay. This time GamesGod did build its defensive castle at time before being attacked. That might help. Interesting, we've got battle elephants, which might be not too bad against longswordsmen, which is the main unit from purple. At least we've got a few spearmen. Well, we've got cavalry archers in addition. Alright, it looks to be the first attack here on Teal, which is going to be 1 versus 2. So the first game having been lost, the 1v1, it means that GamesGod definitely needs to win this game, or it's gonna be eliminated. Well, red is also coming. It means that actually yellow and red are attacking together Teal player, but for some reason purple stays out of the scene. Alright, green is now in action. Okay, helped with blue, which is not too far from the battle. So the question is, who is gonna be hurt the most between red and teal? It definitely can be a key in this game. Nice to see some rams. Well, it's a lot of rams which are coming. And we've got the powerful Huskarls. And yellow was quite fast in researching Imperial Age. Before the 40 minutes, it's pretty good for an old AI because Wartron was made in 2011. Alright, so red is suffering a lot while teal is surviving, especially because we've got that defensive castle and the battle elephants which did a good job to defend. But the castle fall. What yellow is doing at this point? Okay, just keeping massing units. It is not helping red, it is not pushing with purple. Yeah, I think it's a bit sad to see that green stopped attacking the next opponent with blue, because the small advantage taken from having killed red quite fast compared to teal, this advantage is actually lost because now teal is in a bad shape. Red does have actually one TC left. Okay, blue is actually coming back on Redstone. I don't know why green is just coming and leaving. Yeah, green doesn't know what to do at this point. Alright, green is eventually acting. The army composition is not the best against those so many Huskars. Hello, Fireball. Yeah, I'm fine, thank you. As you can see, we've got a big game here. GamesGod is in a big danger after having lost the 1v1. He definitely needs to win this one, but the game remains pretty close. Red is dead, Teal managed to survive. I think it's a good point to have gone for Scorpions against the pure infantry from Wartron. Yellow is full population. Okay, I want to see some coordinations, and it's maybe what is happening eventually with Steel coming with at least some battle elephants and scorpions. But well, Purple's army is really scary. And once again, okay, blue is here. So the game is basically 2v3. So in case you've got some problems to hear me, just let me know. Because this time I put some music in the background. So in case it bothers you, I always can stop the music. Well, it looks like Teal is gonna lose once again. It's pretty difficult to defend against those so many infantry. Nice to see some champions from green. It's even better than the crossbows. At least the cavaliers can also help. Well, blue managed to counter this assault from yellow. Heavy scorpions. I would say that the early Imperial Age was not convincing about the military composition from GamesGod, But right now, in this late game, I really like the composition with Elitus cards, Scorpions, Cavaliers. Alright, Wartron as red player eventually resigned. I will increase the speed. Wartron is definitely not a joke. It's a pretty solid AI, despite the fact that it's almost unknown for a lot of scripters. I think that if you want to test your AI against a pure Gauss player, Wartron is definitely worthy to test. Let's check the population from Teal. 32 villagers, 90 population. It means that it does have a huge military population. Alright. Well, that's a good siege from blue. I like the way it is investing the center of the map with so many buildings to maintain the pressure. And of course the pressure is now working pretty well. And GamesGod is eventually winning this one. So the score is 1-1. We will have a 2v2. Let's have a look at the population from yellow. Yeah, it's below 100. So as I explained before, those games have been played. That way I can run them quite fast while streaming to make it more comfortable, and this is the opportunity for me to go for the round 2 after those match. And Chile is eventually coming back quite powerful now. It's managed to reboom quite well. 5 TC reboom. And now a military population. Does it have? Yes, it does have elite battle elephants. Alright, I think that I can stop the replay at this point. You can't feel the music, okay. That's weird. Hello, Amalon. Alright, so here we go for the next one. I always can show the statistics. Yeah, so pretty decent imperage time from yellow. Even the castle age was not bad for a 22 years old AI, and for having trained so many infantry units, I think that this imperial age time is pretty decent. Alright, let's go for the 2v2. As you can see, we've got Burgundy, Bourguignon, I don't remember the name in English, sorry, and Goss for GamesGod. So 1-1, we saw that Wartron can be pretty strong in the 1v1, and the game was pretty close in the 3v3. So at least this is a recorded game, so I know the final result. But at that point, when the 2v2 started, I was like, okay, Wartron has a real opportunity here to qualify against GamesGod. I will increase the early game. Do you hear the sound of the game? So green went for archers and blue goes for scouts. Okay, let me know if now you can hear the sound of the game. I just increases the sound. That might be better. Alright, first assault from blue. At least it offers some first kills. One villager is dead, and now it's gonna lose its wall scouts. Going scouts against Wartron is definitely not the best strategy. Better stay at home and go for Castle Age. Green could have made some damages with its archers. Maybe it's a shame it didn't give it a try. Okay, let's increase the speed once again. Nice early castle. Alright. I think it's definitely a good point to lure some enemy units in your town. It prevents the enemy to mass too many units. That's where some of them are killed. Alright, so green doesn't care on red and just focus yellow. It definitely can work. But at the same time red is starting to have yeah, a scaring score and a scaring military population. Yeah, that's too many for the archers. And if red managed to counterattack, that can be a huge problem for GamesGod. Let's see. Alright. Well, 60 military population for red. Let's have a look at green. Okay, green was way below, but those crossbows plus that castle helps a lot. Well, yellow has been seriously slowed down. That is pretty important for blue, which was in a bad shape. Green is definitely the best player in that team. Well, that's hurting quite a lot. Oh, red is already in Imperial Age. And it's almost full population. And yellow definitely needs some help. At least if red could start to attack green, that would be the best option at this point for Wartron. Yellow is almost dead. How far from Imperial Age GamesGod is at this point? Blue is pretty far from researching Imperial, and so is green. And we've got Elite Euskal, so at this point Wartron looks to be the winner. Bye bye GamesGod maybe? Okay, I forgot that with Burgundians you do have cavaliers in Castle Age. Well, green is defending pretty well. Now, Yellow, is it able to recover? Nah, impossible. Red is at this point all alone against two GamesGod. And red understood that yellow was dead, so now it can invest its allies' resources. For some reason green looks to be focused on yellow. I'll increase the speed. It's almost 1 hour game. Remember, this is a recorded game anyway, so it doesn't disturb the behavior of the AIs. And the next match is Puma versus Deliveryman, and the game is also recorded. And believe me, it's just an amazing game, really funny. You'll see. Maybe the best game actually in Davis Cup 7. Just because Delivery Man is really funny. So stay around. And once again we see that Wartron in Imperial Age can be very devastating. Even if it plays in 1v2. It's pretty hard to kill. At least it knows how to play as Gus. And green is in a bad shape. Well, not too bad, but okay, yellow resigns, so now blue doesn't have any reason to keep focusing yellow. By the way, there is nothing more to destroy. And green definitely needed its ally to help against red. Alright, so GamesGod is eventually qualified. So GG GamesGod, definitely you did it. Wartron was a pretty decent opponent. "38 minutes to go Imperial Age. Once again pretty decent. Alright,